I'm sorry. Any aim we do have I need for the damned golem. Every time I see the thing it's had another dink. Well, we'll just have to think of a way to get more. Another quiet day with no fresh faces. How long has it been since the last passerby took one of your important letters with them, eh, Gloria? I've quite lost count now. What with all these strange dreams, we're struggling to sleep. The days have been rolling into one. And what's your reason for staying up late? Clearly not because you're busy helping out around here. You can't very well have nightmares if you're not asleep, can you, Breen? Oh, is that why you talk to yourself throughout the night? Or did you find another monster to hide in your basement? Don't forget the water this time if the thing needs it to breathe. I think you'll find if the builder had followed my designs. Speak of the devil? And where have you come from for? Oh, don't tell me. You've just been visiting your friends in Lashville. Phineas had never given me the designs for his laboratory extension in town, and he knew exactly where I'd just come from. I was half tempted to tell everyone about the holes I dug into Mount Portley, just to drop him in it too. Yes, I have come from Lashville. I wanted to tell Glory that 2 gentlemen arrived there. They were looking to join you here, but got lost. What were you doing wasting your time over there again? Well, it seems that some of my letters met with their intended recipients after all, Phineas. Fall, perhaps you could come and tell me more tomorrow. I fear it's getting dark, and we should all go inside. Everyone listened to Gloria, but I knew the risks and was more interested in the donkey that was prancing about the town square like he owned it. After trying and failing to ride him, I took him to the animal pen, but accidentally released one of the pigs as I did. When faced with 3 zombies, the pig ran off and I had to leave her, only to then have her appear at my side as I was eating one of my last carrots. They seemed to be the pig's favourite. As I went to sleep in the boathouse, I found another one of those strange orbs just lying on the ground. What were they, and where did they come from? That night, I was also subject to bad dreams. So then, what's all this about travellers in Lashville? The men that arrived there found a pamphlet advertising Old Carlton as a place to live. There was a motto on it. We are the free, the ancient words of the town, but still as true as they ever were. Did they say where they picked it up? No, they hadn't said. It then occurred to me that Gloria didn't seem surprised that one of her letters had ended up in a stranger's hand. I went on to explain a bit more about Teddy and Gibble and the troubles that had befallen Lashville until Bob and Lud returned. When Gloria was satisfied, I addressed the reasons I'd made my own journey here. I found a book. I think you might be able to make better sense of it than I can. I handed the book I'd fished up from the gravelly cliff to Gloria. Her eyes widened as she delicately turned over the first few brittle pages, avoiding touching the small barnacles that still clung to its cover. The book was written in an old dialect, with some of the words I'd never even heard of. There were also a number of runes that glistened on the pages, but were a complete mystery to me. If you'll be staying with us, perhaps I could employ your building services. Once upon a time, Old Carlton was home to the most prestigious library in all the land. Don't think I'm asking for a miracle, but it is somewhat of an embarrassment to the town if Lashville are more scholarly than we are. I was happy to help, and grateful that Glory would take a look at the enchanted book. And if you could, this time would you build using stone? If you need, you can start a mine on the edge of town, by the ravine. I certainly did not need to dig out any more stone. Then I got to the second reason I'd come, and told Gloria about the hoof and udder, along with giving her a gift of its product. Despite how long ago I'd made it, Nellie's recipe for bread seemed to be resistant to the ravages of time. Gloria, Dana and Breen all reeled at its fabulous taste. Moreover, whilst I was here, Gloria said I was free to eat from their modest produce. There wasn't any bread left for Phineas, but that wasn't why he was angry. I'd overheard the slight to his intelligence as I walked into town, and now he was taking that out on me. The death of the drowned I'd left him was apparently a sore subject, which might have been why he hadn't mentioned it until now. It's time that you replace the drowned you lost. I think a very large pool will be needed, dug within the mountain halls of course, and the water must be taken from the wishing well. Sorry, it's a little bit of a walk to and fro, but I'm sure you'll manage. That sounds doable, but hauling the water from the well will take far longer than it's worth. I should be able to expand the water trough in the stable though. What do you think of a large bowl-shaped... Water must be from the well. Also, what was that creature's name? Talus? I'll be having him too. Far more useful in my hands, I'm sure you'll agree. I'd had enough of Phineas's spite. I'm not building it like that, and you can't have Talus. If you refuse, then your secret will be revealed. Do it then. Tell them. But if you do, who else is going to gather your monster specimens? He'd made an empty threat, and I called his bluff. Fine. Why don't you start off with something easy and dig a pit for a zombie? Even you can't mess that up. And you can keep your dead horse. I'll go do that now, but I'll have some redstone first. Oh, and you better stay here whilst I'm working. Don't want you to get caught by a stray zombie. I'd needed the redstone for my crop tower, and the small amount he gave me would be enough. When I returned to Mount Portley, I took down the banner of the Dunmoor Crag Pillagers. It was silly to put it up in the first place, but at some point I thought I should hang something up. Other banners or perhaps some paintings. For the time being though, the blank walls were a blessing. Anything I let myself get lost in for a moment would trigger an uninvited endervision. When I was concealing the now taller ceilings under mounds of dirt, I had a brief reprieve from the mental battle of concentrating my whole attention on work. But as I dug through the mountain and fell into a calm rhythm of swinging my pickaxe, my mind wandered and the visions plagued me. They were making it hard to think, and I made the mistake of digging out a corridor I should have known was going to breach outside. I had run out of dirt to cover the structures and was running out of food. I needed to visit Lushville. When I got there it was dark, so I helped myself to some of the carrots from the bed I had planted, as well as stacks of dirt from my own stores there. A shame I didn't get to say hi to the villagers, because I would have welcomed a kind word or two. Back in the mountain, I burned through many picks, and with each one that broke, I had to traipse through the long halls to craft another. This time, trying and failing to clear my mind, to be at one with the moment. But then, another rendered daydream hit me. Slowly, I weaved the corridor through the rock, so the pit room sat directly beneath the main hall. Now, all I needed was a zombie. Like my plateau, the mountain was rich in minerals. The iron I had gathered I made into almost a complete set of armour. Though it would surely come in handy later, I had overestimated the problem ahead. The hunt for the zombie ended up being surprisingly simple. I suppose Phineas was at least right about that. With clay and cobblestone in hand, I left the halls and the waking dreams behind me. I was generous when spacing out the torch blueprints for the library. After extending the path from the square to its would-be entrance, I got to work proper. The cobblestone I brought was running out quickly, but there was plenty more stored away in the mountain. Each time I travelled back and forth, I brought as much with me as I could carry. I was so focused on collecting more that when I travelled back to Mount Portley, I didn't suffer from the Endermen visions. but was so single-minded I also forgot to bring back coal to cook up the clay a number of times. I caught Dana investigating the foundations as I hauled back the building materials. Night and day, I built, farmed and chopped trees, even beginning to enjoy fending off the hordes of phantoms, seeing how many times in a row I could sidestep their dive bombs before batting them away. Two-Bone and I's chemistry in the field was ever improving, and I felt the surge of magic with each foe slain. With all the monsters felled, one dropped a magical leather helmet. One day, Dana came back to see the progress I'd made. This is massive. Do you think? I have a tendency to get carried away. Travellers might actually stay here if they see this. Well, when it has a roof anyway. I can't promise that, but when it does have a roof, you and Gloria can study to your heart's content. That's a point. Maybe you could build a tavern instead. It's hardly a party here as is. It'd be nice if someone living here was my own age. I told you about the Hoof and Udder, didn't I? You could be its first patron. You might get lucky and someone else is stupid enough to get lost on their way here. I suppose the people you met in Lushville are where they ought to be though, being that stupid. What is Old Carlton's problem with Lushville? I think they're really nice over there. Just shows you don't really know them. At that moment, I was reminded I didn't really know anyone. Even Nellie. She was the biggest enigma of all. I suppose Gloria knows quite a few people to be writing to them, inviting them here. That's not quite what happened. Gloria wrote the pamphlets, put them in envelopes, and addressed them to the farthest places she could find on the old maps. When we handed them out to wanderers, we told them they contained top secret information. For them to reach their distant destinations, the letters would have to change hands many times, until eventually they'd be handed to someone a little more curious and morally flexible. That sort of person may or may not want to move here, but others that find the discarded flyers might, wherever they ended up. Dana seemed quite proud as she explained Gloria's trick. So, anyone could turn up here. I suppose so. When Dana skipped away to show Gloria the paper I'd sold to her, made from the sugarcane I was cultivating on the lake, I paused and wondered how dangerous it really was to be helping Phineas hide away monsters in the mountain, so close to these people, and potentially many more, including those in Lushville. Moving forward, I'd have to be careful with the project. So I got ChatGPT 4 for this chapter's visions. Compared to the previous visions and dreams I included from Dall-E 2, it's an incredible step up. A little bit of a shame because using AI's work loses the charm of being made by a human. And if anyone watching makes art, whether digital or otherwise, and ever wants to be featured in Fool's Journal, leave a comment or tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see what you can do. A small bit of housekeeping. I'm going to be away for the holidays and have an exam in early January, so realistically the next chapter will probably drop in 3 weeks' time on the 12th of January. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.